Trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Hold on just a second. I should probably take a drink before I start recording. All right, well, yesterday was pretty crazy and we had a fun time, and ZN is slightly lower in the overnight session, testing higher. I think that that's totally appropriate here. The E-mini is just lost its mind. So look at this yesterday. You see that? Look, higher highs on lower cumulative delta. Am I the only one that thinks that's crazy? I don't know how common that is, but man. And then look at this move up here. So big move in the European session too. Let's just look at it here. Okay, so here's our daily chart. So we can see here's all the noise. That does kind of look like a market bottoming activity. You know, just the craziness. But after that, it's a little, I don't know. Here in the note, you can see how significantly down we were. It was just, that's a trend day, guys. Here again, you can see the profile. So I do think that there is a possibility of the E-mini coming back. I would really like to see it test this 2672 area again. And here in the note, again, we could move up, but you know, I think that the first up target would have to be this 13.5. Now that said, we do have some news, and if I recall correctly, it's not just the unemployment claims. Let's look. Oh, why is that open like that? Same. Okay, we have, oh, PPI. PPI at 630, which is an important number. It's not quite as important as the core price index, but this is the the consumer price index. This is the producer price index. 0.4 versus 0.1. Previous was 0.4. If it's above 0.4, it would be significant. I don't think it would be as big of a deal as what we had yesterday. I do think that's important enough news that we should try opening up the financial juice and the Twitter and all of the things. So let's do that. Good deal. Yes, so the big question is, how low can treasuries go? Ooh, I don't know. Yep. Good points here. Oh, I am so sorry. What's going on in general? Oh, we are banning that. Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Okay. Abnormally high risk ask size right now. Where is this? Oh. Yes, in ZT. That's just what they do in ZT. Let's make sure we get the financial juice going. And let's grab the links. Here we go. Copy. There's that one. There's that one. Okay, so we got 5 minutes. Of course, if you have any questions, put them into the chat. I'm always watching the chat. Oh, I don't go over Bitcoin. I'm going to eat here, and then I'll show you Bitcoin. All right. Okay, let's just double check this is, oh, it's not on. Work, darn you. Okay, 2 minutes. I'm gonna show you the chart here just really quick. Bitcoin Cash still looking expensive, but not max expensive. And I would still lean on the Bitcoin price, which has just ticked up above 50 now. So good deal. We should get another move like this. Probably what we're going to get. Highest probability, and then the second probability is that we'll get another one of these, but which would be great, but I don't think that's gonna happen. And I also just want to show Doge looks like it could be a good mover here, believe it or not. And Ethereum Classic, I remember some people saying, "Oh, Ethereum Classic, that's too done. It's you already missed the fork." Nah, look at how much room you have to go. So Ethereum Classic, a great play. I wish I could have put money. Wish I had seen that back when I was putting money in. I could have put it in Ethereum Classic. Oh well, Ethereum is okay. Litecoin starting to look expensive here, and you can see, like for instance, here on this peak. So I would be careful about the pump in Litecoin. Same with Vertcoin. They may underperform here in this next run. But the chart itself on the 5-minute is interesting, because we were coming up, we were saying this was a cup and handle and we needed to get above 25. Oh, here, let's look here.
So 1.4% find demand, expert energy 0.4%, expert energy and trade 0.4%, find demand year on 0.7%.
That was expectations.
0.2%, expert energy and trade 2.5%. Manufacturing comes in at 13.1. Jobless 230k, and continuing claims 1. Fed business income comes in at 25.5. That's just right. Philly Fed 6-month index. Capex in prices paid 5.5. Do have some revisions as jobless prior 221k revised up to 3k. Continuing claims 1.9 million, previous revised up to 1.7, and the PPI fund demand month-on-month number drop of 0.1% last month, revised up to a flat rate.
Oh, well, that's interesting that they revised that PPI, isn't it? Here, I just pulled this over here so you can see them. So it was a bit of a mixed bag, but the important numbers came in at expectations. This core PPI was a little bit above. Hey, Dev Pluto, by the way. I didn't see that.
I saw the ADP search. Canada's added 10,700.
Anyways, this number, the manufacturing index, is good. I think that could push us down. It's really hard to say though. We are above the VWAP, so I can't sell here. Good, but PPI as expected.
There you come. Finding Greek bailout action, only a technicality.
We are seeing some flattening in the knob spread. Tucker pointing that out in channel. Turn that back on. But he's right. Knob is flattening. FYT kind of ranging here. The 5-year may have found it's where it's comfortable. I'm gonna be trading extra cautious today because we had such a good day yesterday, and none of the news that we just had really counters out what happened yesterday. And so you kind of have this situation where there's not necessarily an impetus to move us to a new direction, but there's definitely going to be, market profile and auction theory that just kind of plays itself out. Okay, so that was a pretty big come down in ZB there. I'm just gonna keep an eye on that. I want to see a good push. Oh, so really quickly though, the bitcoins. So 9,500 was the level we were looking for, and it came really close to it. Didn't quite get there, and then they just flew right through it. And then they very quickly went up to 98. Okay, still not putting a big offer there. And then we did have a sell, so it looks like that particular trade played through. But man, I mean, now come and look at the 6-hour chart. Look at how bullish that makes the 6-hour chart look. Yeah. So, so far it looks like our number one scenario, which was a cup and handle, move up to 1850, is really playing out. So I'm happy about that. All right, let's post that up like that. Okay, focus here. Oh, by the way, this right here, E-mini, I tried putting some trades in it yesterday. No. Bad idea. Never again. No more. It's locked. No more E-mini trades. Not worth it. I was so bad at it. It was tilty. I was tilting for sure. I was tilting and I was like, well, let's just keep trying until it closes.
S070 but unsure. Previous move could resume. Maybe more sellers after yesterday data.
Okay, so there is a little bit of buying coming in here into the 5-year, but they did not bust through. So now we've got a real battle going.
Tucker said really thin in the 5s past 0.20.
Well, it's a little thin right here too. You see that? The 12s? It's curious. And the DOM is pretty equal today too. You notice, I mean, there's a little bit of blue, but it's not like a huge. So, I think we need to treat this as a range-bound day. Okay, interesting. A little bit of steepening there. So the buyers won that little battle there, but I'm not taking it because 03 halves is just the other side of the range in ZF. So I think that in order for me to take a trade right there on the edge, I would really have to see some buyers initiating there. Yeah.
Alligator said or consolidation, bullish above 100 with 200 target.
Yeah, if we could break above that here. Or just outside of the value area.
Alligator said why won't go much higher IMO.
Yeah, I tend to agree with him. I don't think that if we do get out here, that it would go much higher than 18, which was yesterday's point of control. They could test that. Okay. They absorbed a lot on the way back down there, but then this pulled. I'm curious. We did get bubbles here at the bottom, so I'm going to say the current auction direction is up for sure, and we are above the VWAP again. Not like a clear VWAP bounce, but okay. Not the best entry place, but I'll take it. Look at that in ZB. So there was a big sell. It is almost completely unwound. And pretty easily, because we are right back to that same price. And they are eyeing the high of the day. I think that there's a really good chance that we test highs.
Awidal said 6J making a pretty strong run.
Oh. Good point. He is correct.
Fran said at Seth I joined the leaderboard but having a lot of problem with the DOM etc. ENL doesn't show, doesn't execute the strategy, later on when things calm down, can you help me out a bit?
Oh.
Fran said I have to switch computers to do that, we'll do it as soon as I'm finished on my live account.
Okay, never mind. I'm going to guess though that she's going to be looking at this, and sometimes the P&L gets screwed up and you just have to refresh it. I don't know what the deal is with that, but
Fran said Dave doesn't give very clear answers. Fran said yes. Fran said I never know where I am in a trade. Fran said yesterday was the first day, what a mess.
Interesting. Hmm. Okay, well, we'll have to see what she's having
Fran said
trouble with.
anyway, we'll chat later.
Okay. Well, that was a pretty good initiation move upwards, and they just kind of stopped. And at least one person gave up. Now, I'm not ready to give up on this trade quite yet, but I don't like that it come back on me too there. I FOMO'd a bit much there, didn't I? Yeah, see, that's no good.
Fran said watching gold, thinking it may lead the way up with all the inflation news.
That's an interesting theory. Let's add a gold chart here. Here's... Okay, a little better there. Good deal. You see. You see, doesn't move much, does it? You know what? Probably I need to
Fran said ES sure makes
roll it.
spectacular recoveries, yesterday tanking and then regained everything in 15 minutes. Fran said must be market manipulation. Fran said push it down to buy in a better spot. Fran said somebody made millions. Tucker said the plunge protection folks had to get a bit of a cash infusion when it crashed. Don't worry though, they're back on the job today LOL.
Was it the PPT? You know, I don't want to sound conspiracy theory.
Fran said yeah, it just seems so obvious.
But the plunge protection team does exist. We know that happens, and we know that they buy things in markets. Was what we saw yesterday the plunge protection team? Is it possible? Maybe. I don't know. Yesterday's move was suspicious. I think that it was reasonable. Was like that yesterday was the first time that the market was acting rationally to me. It's like, okay, guess what? Maybe Treasuries yield going higher isn't the end of the world, guys. That's what it was to me. But then it was so panicked last week, and then yesterday it just did its thing. Is weird.
Tucker said I think the PPT is just a bunch of large funds which know that buying the dip has worked statistically over the last 10 years. We're all the PPT when you think about it. Fran said there was an article last week about the last crash and how CME was supposed to fix the machines, now the same problems are back. Fran said and you know it's intentional, it's not like they don't have world-class programmers.
Oh, they totally turned them off. Yeah, so when I worked for the bank, one of the jobs that
Brand said exactly.
one of the systems that we worked on would watch the order flow and looked for certain things, particularly like too many duplicate orders, to try and catch if one of our clients' robots was going rogue, and to shut it down if it was happening. And it did happen, and we did shut them down. And those kinds of triggers happened on a daily basis, although usually it wasn't actually a thing. Usually it wasn't actually a thing, and they just cleared up right away.
Of 5%.
So yeah, they shut down the robots, and last week they totally did that. They totally shut down the
Tucker
robots.
said how much would the bots bleed before shutting down?
Oh,
10K?
I don't
1
know.
million?
I don't know.
Brand said we're always trading against the fix. Brand said excuse my cynicism.
Yeah. So one thing, because obviously I can't tell you a whole lot, and certainly not anything about like any specific incident, but one thing that I think I probably could tell you that happens in the industry every once in a while is that systems usually have a sequence number. So like every time you send an order in, it has a sequence number, and that number increases every time that you and the exchange send a message to each other, so that you know that you're on the same page. And some systems, if they don't get the right sequence number, they go, oh crap, I'm like, all of this stuff that I sent hasn't been sent and I have to resend it. So there have been instances where somebody like deployed software.
Brand said yes, but these are things going on at the CME.
And they didn't send the sequence number correctly, and then the system ends up sending a flood of orders. That sort of the thing happens too, but with the robots in particular, you know, I think that a lot of these
Brand
robots
said latency, etc.
I think a lot of these robots just have a rule that says if we've had a move that's more than 5% on the E-mini, just turn off.
Tucker said, did you see any machine learning stuff in your time? Brand said, I'd love to be a fly on the wall over there.
Yeah. Not us. No. I never saw machine learning algorithms, although I kind of know they exist, and I know generally how they work. The thing that I think is weird about the machine learning algorithms is that, you know, you just program together like building blocks, and then the system just kind of does back testing and figures out which random combination of them works best. And the people that, you know, run that machine learning algorithm don't really understand how it works. That's a little scary to me, but most of the algorithms that we did were just splitting orders so that they'd all arrive at the exchanges at the same time, that sort of a thing. And when we
Brand
did have
said, who needs
algorithms,
machine learning when you have inside information and can manipulate.
but there was a lot of, you know, like macroeconomic sort of a things. You know, there was a lot of work put into systems to make it so that, you know, when the yield on the Treasury changed, you could very quickly see how that affected all of these other assets. So, but that's a little beyond that. The point was, did they turn the robots off? Yes. And did that happen last week? Without question, robots turned off. Now, my personal theory though is in the other part of this, and because I made a thread about this on Futures.io, and people were saying, well, isn't there kind of a contradiction in what
Tucker
you're
said
saying?
my background is engineering, but I have zero experience with machine learning. It seems that, if machines are teaching themselves with historical/statistical data, we could see serious
Curve fitting in their behavior, and this influence might have contributed to that crash last week. Yeah, there is a little bit of curve fitting to it. Here, let me mute this for a second. I do think that one of the things that I think is indicative here is that we have a lot of one-way trades. So it's kind of like everybody is using the same models, and they've back-tested all of the same models, and they see what works. And maybe it does work, but the trade has just become too crowded. Does that make sense? But I mean, it wasn't necessarily algorithms that started the problem, because there's been all these guys on television that have been saying, well, our models say that if, the yield gets above this percent, that tons of people are going to come in and buy bonds because all of a sudden they're going to be more attractive than equities and that sort of thing. And so that's kind of like more the quants. And it seems to me that there is a large section of the market out there that seems to believe in some sort of quantitative model that said that there was going to be a problem. And I think that model is just wrong. I just don't...
January, month to prior of percent.
I just don't see anything that could possibly have justified the market action that we saw last week, especially in light of what happened yesterday. Go ahead, I undeafened it. Do you feel like we just broke down from a bull trap? No, so I'm not actively trading Bitcoin right now. I think that what we're seeing in Bitcoin was a cup and handle, and it just played out, and that trade is over, and now we're waiting to see if somebody sets up to try and take us higher above 10,000. And I'm pretty confident that will happen, but we'll see. It might take a little while. We might have a down day here soon in Bitcoin. Anyways.
Fran said tensorflow.org.
Oh, open source machine learning for everyone. I'm gonna have to play with that later. Oh, yes. Okay.
Fran said if you have access to the data, you're in business.
I got really lucky there that I did not get stopped out. Okay, there is some sellers though, because that was a pretty hard hit there at 09 halves that they held. In ZB, that was a big move up.
1 minute.
Tucker said finally a bit of convergence across products.
Okay, so there's a Canadian number about to come through here. Oh, well, let's just put that over here.
Fran said the machines have caught up. They're very, very good. Fran said if you have the data, the programming is there.
Oh yeah, totally. There are a lot of algorithms out there.
Fran said look at Google, they're the leaders in machine learning.
Anyways, I just think that if robots and quantitative analysis type trades were
5%, minus 14.5%.
No reaction to it, so it doesn't matter. Let's turn him off since we don't need him anymore. I think that if that whole quantitative play was a smaller percentage of the market, I don't think that it would have been as volatile last week. Well, I really like the buy, but the sellers are just trying to hold it pretty aggressively.
Fran said their offshoot company is Alphabet, all they do is predictive analytics. Tucker said true. But as long as there's free money to be had in a trade, the trade is going to get filled up with people.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that's the whole thing is I feel like that most humans, after they've become seasoned and cynical, sit down and say, hey, there's too many people trading this. It doesn't make sense for everybody to be shorting volatility. That can't go on forever. That is eventually going to blow up in your face. And we talked about it here like a trillion times. And then when it happens, it's like if the market acts all surprised. It just blows my mind.
Fran said my chart shows it's just ranging ATM.
I mean, I could be wrong. This is the most speculative part of my theory, but it seems to me that the robots aren't able to tell when a trade is crowded. Could be wrong. Maybe it's people. Maybe the people are really just are dumb and don't realize
Fran
when a
said
trade is
waiting
crowded.
for a break, maybe after the open.
There's just a lot of crowded trades right now. Short treasuries, short volatility, long equities.
Tucker said the robots are driven by people though, right? And as long as you're not the last one in the trade or the last one to puke, you're making money.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I'm sure that the robots made a lot of money last week. Maybe some that they put orders on lost a little bit of money and they turned them off, but there was still tons of volume last week, so...
Fran said no, that's just it. They have developed autonomous AI now.
Yeah. There are algorithms that the owners, they don't understand how they work. Okay.
Fran said that's the point, the AI make the decisions and their ability far outweighs a human. Fran said I think someday in the near future, this type of trading will be history, won't be able to do it.
Okay, that was a pretty good tick up. It's just this taking 09. We might see Tyler pop in here. Like we come up and the guy at 09 halves says, okay, fine, you want to
Fran
take
said
09.
Possibly, hard to know, no one is going to tell us that grinning face.
Yeah. And maybe this guy decides to just hold the offer really heavy to try and scare us and then Tyler could come in and just buy it all. That would be a place that I
Fran
think he
said
would
there's
like to
no
play.
transparency in this business.
Yeah. Yeah, right now maybe it's not such a bad deal because I made some good money last week. Well, in Sim, I did well last week, but I'm just worried about when we enter a recession and then you get a day where the liquidity pulls, what's going to happen? You know?
Fran said I can reproduce Bell's theorem in the lab. Why? Because everything in physics is transparent, but in this business it's very different. Guess it just drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well, it bothers me that you can't see who's buying, you know? I feel like at the end of the day, they should report, you know, who bought what or something.
Tucker said, happy face, big time agreed here. Unless regulators enforce market making during all market conditions, that -5% might be a Black Monday in the blink of an eye.
Exactly. Because you get this one-way trade, all of the robots take it the same
Fran
way.
said what regulators? I think they're in on the scam.
They're,
Tucker said resets liquidity discussion.
Yeah, the only thing that's there to stop us is the exchange circuit breakers, which surprisingly enough we did not touch. But that's the only thing stopping it. Now the good news is that from my experience, having only seen a circuit breaker touch once, and that was in Bitcoin, but when it touched a circuit breaker, that was a buying opportunity.
For them not to know about it.
That was a buying opportunity, so there is that. But I'd rather the liquidity just not pull.
Tucker said yeah, what was limit down on Mon/Tuesday? Certainly we should have hit it. If an election can touch the bad button, whipsaw crash-like behavior should have too.
Yeah. So I think it's like 7%, and we never had 7% in anything. So yeah, the circuit breakers didn't hit, which I thought was really interesting. But the thing, that's kind of the thing that bothers me, is that the exchange circuit breaker is apparently much more generous
Fran said
than...
that was the first time we had limit down in a very long time, I think.
Yeah, it's much more generous than the limit down that the liquidity providing robots have, right? So they're turning off and just pulling their liquidity after, you know, not that big of a move. I don't know. I didn't think that action, where was it? Let's look. Can we see it? Well, okay, maybe this day right here, because this was really the one that did it, right? I just didn't feel like that was that big of a deal. But now looking at it in retrospect, it was a pretty bad down day. But this right here, that's a flash crash. We should completely retrace that. Right? We could get up to 2763. And then maybe I would say, okay, maybe it's fair. It would be, you know, if you wanted to sell here on a short-term trade, that might be reasonable. Okay, so they actually finally bought it up a level. They didn't put up a huge, strong bid though. But it looks like they're slowly eating through this seller.
Tucker said we were down 100 ES handles and then back up 100 in a minute or two. Maybe the exchanges need to implement a volatility button. And then somebody will figure out how to securitize.
Yeah, well, you know, it should be a liquidity button. There should be a liquidity circuit breaker. If there's not news going on and the liquidity changes and then it stays that way for a certain amount of time, because we can see a drop in liquidity for like 5 minutes, okay? But if the liquidity has disappeared for like 30 minutes, they should shut it down. So it was ridiculous to come back in that day and see them only putting up hundreds on the 10-year.
The was centered around the volatility shorts.
Yeah.
14. Fran said another big manipulation. I don't believe they didn't see it coming. You don't have to be a rocket scientist.
Oh yeah, totally. No. I mean, we've talked about it. I know that you and I, Fran, have talked about it before, just in Discord, and I know that I've talked about it in videos from way back. We all knew about the volatility trade. That's why there's a VIX channel in here on Discord, was because it was so popular. Although I have to say, I feel like we got really lucky, because that trade blowing up could have been so much worse than it was. You know, I think we're lucky that it happened now and not like during a real crisis, like a real reason to sell, you know. So hopefully now that it's happened, it's not going to be such a big problem in the future, but we'll see.
Fran said, I think stock valuations went back to normal, didn't they?
I think that the volatility number is back to a reasonable number. You know, obviously we're still down quite a bit in the E-mini, so I wouldn't necessarily say that the valuations are back to normal. And I don't know where they are from a price earnings growth, you know, perspective. But that one, you know, I think that we just have to let that one play out a quarter. And in the end of the quarter, we have a much better idea where stocks should really be at. I don't think that there's a reason to sell stocks right now, though. Like maybe I'm just have the wrong perspective on it because I'm a trader and not like an economist. But from a trading perspective, I don't think we've hit the high of the year, so why would you sell stocks? You know? But somebody in some fund somewhere seems to think that it's a big deal. Rackley, too much tuna. Oh, what's a circuit breaker? So a circuit breaker is on the exchanges, they have a rule where if any instrument moves more than 7% within a certain amount of time, they just shut it down. They stop trading. And when that happens, you can close out your positions at the circuit, the price that the circuit breaker triggered at, but you can't initiate positions. So it's usually a buy event because all of the people that sold just exit their positions there. And then we tend from the one circuit breaker that I saw, which was when they halted the Bitcoin futures during the crash. The one time that I saw it, they started moving back up immediately afterwards. So, but it is a rare event. Yep. And you know, there's another piece in here that I haven't really discussed that I think is probably an even more significant problem, and that is the ETFs, right? Because what you get is, first we have like a really bad one-way trade, you know, like you know, short treasuries, right? And then you have one ETF out there that particular trade affects significantly, and that ETF holds a little bit of all of these stocks that makes those go down, and then that hurts all of the other ETFs, so that, you know, it just kind of cascades and kind of forces the market to all move in one direction when it shouldn't. You know, it's like names that would be good names get crushed in those kinds of market conditions when there's, you know, the things that have changed don't affect them at all. Okay, that was a stop right there. That was some stops. I'm liking it. Okay, so some iceberging. They're going to trade one.
Tucker
yep.
said exactly. Triple leveraged volatility inverse tag-along thin mint fund.
Yep. So you kind of have a confluence of all of these things: overcrowded trades, robots pulling the liquidity when things get bad, and holy crap. Well, okay. I'm not even sure how to interpret that. Holy cow. How do you... If there was somebody that really wanted to buy that many treasuries, why didn't they do it way back when we were at 09 and struggling to go somewhere? Jeez. Anyways, so it's that combination of overcrowded trades, liquidity pulling when things go wrong, and then the ETFs all being correlated together just kind of creates a perfect recipe to make it really easy to kill markets on a bad day. And we've gotten a taste where you get a day or two of it, and then we just kind of deal with the repercussions. But in a financial crisis, when there's a real reason to sell, you get days like that where it's like that down every day. Huh? That's a problem. That's a big problem. And then what happens after that, right? People lose confidence in markets. I thought that people lost confidence in markets after 2008 with like the whole Occupy Wall Street thing and all that. I mean, man, that'd be nothing if the kind of collapse that I'm talking about happened. You know? The only thing possibly saving us is the fact that millennials don't seem to care about stocks and aren't investing. maybe that will save us. They won't be so mad next time because they won't be losing that much money. And all the people that lost money will be too old to do anything about it. Yeah, that was way too cynical. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry, guys. Just the future
Tucker
scares
said
me a
if
little
the
bit.
actual repercussions of so much debt come around to smack the US, it's going to be a very bad no good day.
Well, so now the debt thing is interesting. Oh, go ahead, finish typing. I need to see what you say about this.
Tucker said, and on markets, why can't we trade 120 to 125? 25K at 120. 1000 at 125.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal here is, but I'm thinking that it's time to
Rackley 3 said
get
blends
out, possibly.
perfectly with what I just wrote in YouTube code. Seth.
Oh, what did he say in YouTube? The next big thing, security token offering instead of an ICO. Yeah. Well, so Rackley has pointed me to a thing yesterday where there's a fork called Bitcoin Private, which is actually kind of a fork of Zcash, which was a fork of Bitcoin. They're changing it to Bitcoin Private because apparently Bitcoin Cash was a good deal, so now we need to call everything Bitcoin, but with our own name added to the end of it. Ugh, rolls eyes. But anyways, and the way that the developers are funding their development is they're saying everybody mine to this pool. And when you mine to this pool, you're mining Zcash for us, and we're going to take that Zcash and we're going to sell it on the market. And in exchange for you mining that Zcash for us, we'll give you tokens in our new cryptocurrency. So basically, it was a way of them doing an ICO without having to actually touch ICO rules. They're finding ways to get around those laws. Well, and also to get around, because a lot of people are concerned about doing that because of fraud and stuff. So they're a lot more willing to just point their miner to a location than they are to, give somebody $1,000 and not be sure that they're actually going to get something back. But anyways, with Tucker talking about the debt, should I just get out here? I'm just gonna let this do its thing, and maybe it comes back to 9. But that was some pretty nutso action up there at the top. I don't think that they've touched the high for today. Yeah, the thing is, who was it that posted that chart yesterday that showed that none of the developing countries have a positive yield? Like it's only the developing countries like China.
Tucker said 50K traded between 120 and 115. It couldn't push higher. If you were flat right now, would you want to buy or sell, Seth?
No. I would want to see it. I would want to see somebody win first. I mean, I think that the buyers are going to win, but I think that that was enough craziness
Tucker
that they have to pull
exactly.
back first. They have to pull back first, yeah. But it was too high of a risk. Ugh, maybe I just got scared out, but...
Tucker said big decision point, no reason to blindly swing for an edge before the battle is decided.
Exactly. Unfortunately, well, I guess the thing is that our reward, because I still think that we're going to touch 18. We're still an awful ways away from that. So, normally I would be worried about it. If these guys win here, we could see 13 really, really quickly. But when that happens, I think we should get a pullback. I can buy it there, and then we could move up again to 160 and then to 18. So there's no real reason to, get too excited there. Plus, Equities is about to open in 5 minutes, and I don't know what that's going to do, and I don't want to be messing with that.
Tucker said the only trade I'd take right now is an absorption. IMO stop run into 135/140, 10-12K stop out, sellers absorb, and we tick back to 115.
Well, what do you make of, was it at 115? Where all of the sudden this huge iceberg shows up that absorbed like 10K contracts? You know? That's a lot of contracts to absorb there, and then for us to just kind of range. Or even drop. So that also kind of makes me a little confused. That was part of why when it started ticking down and I saw people taking profits, I just decided to just get out. Although you're right, there's probably still some iceberg opportunities in here where you could pull a tick out. Stock market on blockchain. Yeah, one of the things
said, I think that was somebody looking to take the first side of the trade I'm describing. I think the buyer saw easy trade through 105, threw up a big OL bid to keep it moving, and is now.
Okay, so you think that the big guy is going to win? One of the things is that we have had a fall in cumulative delta in ZB here. You see that? That may be part of why we were seeing so much absorption there. Oh geez, look at that. I'm gonna have to take that one, I think. Okay, so that was, they did it again. They took it down 2 ticks. And now they're recovering again.
Trade the traders, said Seth. Delta can and will be faked. What is the ordef flow for you all?
Well, okay,
Tucker
no, that's...
said maybe a spreader or stat arb. Certainly strange to see buyer absorption right before highs.
You can't fake cumulative delta, but you can't fake cumulative delta, but sometimes the market orders are not the ones that are the most influential, right? Clearly saw that yesterday in the E-mini. There was somebody was buying the E-mini hardcore, and they were doing it all with limit orders. Right? I don't know, these little stop runs down seem awfully suspicious. There you go. See?
Tucker said watching ZB here for clues. Alligator said looks like a pullback to previous high, but it makes a nice spot if you want to short on higher time frame, all about liquidity.
Yeah, it's going. Look at that. If I hadn't already been long when they ticked up to 120 and immediately put 3,000 on it, I would have taken it again. There is very clearly a large buyer here that just took a pretty big seller hit, and some, you know, there was all those stop runs and stuff, and even after all of that, when he pushed through, it was still a really strong push through. This is a big boy. Now, the E-mini is moving down at the moment. Are we getting a flight to safety trade here? So I'm kind of trying to keep a close eye on this. In fact, let's pull the E-mini up here. So let's see, when the E-mini makes a significant step down, is that when we're ticking up? Look at how strong those upticks are. Man. Okay, so we did get another slight move down in the E-mini there. Off of that. Okay. That was a strong tick down. A little bit there. Tough call here. I don't get another strong tick up when if they tick up. big if at the moment. Okay. Don't like that iceberg there. This is a little nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh, is the sim gonna actually give me an accurate fill here? Yeah. Come on. 300 more. Dang it. Okay, you notice that the E-mini pivoted there when that happened. Now all of a sudden nobody wants to trade. Come on. Okay, now they pivoted again. Small pivot. That wasn't accurate. I mean, that may not have been accurate. I mean, it's hard to say because what you get in Jigsaw is always the worst case.
The trader said, Seth, what are you looking for in trading? I would be interested. Because until now I only see that you look at the market orders.
No, it's not just the market orders. I think that I look a lot more for how the market reacts when we tick. If we move up and, you know, and there's a couple of different categories. So we just saw two right there. One is when we tick up and they immediately push it back down. Another is when we tick up, but they don't put a whole lot on the bid. You know, and that's usually just robots trying to play the edge. Or when we tick up and like immediately there's 3K on the bid, right? That's a signal that I really pay attention to. But then it still has to do with like, okay, that happened. Now they tick back down, and when they tick back down, did they immediately put more back up, or do they not? And that just kind of has to go into what kind of a day it is for you to be able to interpret how it's actually going, you know? Now, I do tend to pay attention to market orders just because, you know, market orders tend to indicate initiation. And an aggressive buyer and seller is going to be a much better edge, much better person to be trading with, usually, especially in trendy markets. And since I do better with trends, I do tend to pay attention a lot to what the market orders are doing. But, you know, and then that goes to the other side, which is the icebergs, right? Because an iceberg is an indication that the limit orders there really, really matter. Now, to go back to the thing that I think we were talking about that I think maybe kind of made you ask that question.
The traders said just one question. Does not have to be. But could you trade without Jigsaw?
Oh, man. That's a tough question. I think that I could maybe do okay with just the charts, but I've never really tried that seriously, so I would probably say no. I don't think that I would do as well without Jigsaw. And just, you know, the thing that because when I worked for the bank, okay, I was in technology, so they didn't give me any trading tools or anything like that. But I wanted to trade. So I was basically like, I would, Thinkorswim was the one that I liked to do, but I was afraid because they have so many regulations about information that you can send out and everything like that. So I would watch the chart in Thinkorswim usually, and then later TradingView, because they changed the computers and I wasn't able to install Java stuff on it anymore. So that killed Thinkorswim, but TradingView still worked for some reason. Anyways, so I would watch the chart and then I would put my trades in a spreadsheet, and I tended to swing trade. So I would like take a trade in the E-mini and I would do like 4 contracts and I'd be looking to catch 4 points. And if I recall correctly, like that was $1,000. And I was pretending that I had a $100,000 portfolio. And when I did that one, I think that my stats had me winning 50% of the time. But I always thought that my results were probably not accurate. So I was sitting there like,
The traders said fuck the charts. I mean, could you trade with another DOM?
Oh, yeah, probably. As long as the other DOM showed me the volume profile. You know, like if I didn't have this inside current trades column, I think I could still do it. I would just have to watch the volume trade and volume profile and see how much the volume profile changed. You know? That's how they used to do it before current trades came around. Nope, that's not right. That's still not right. Oh, okay, there we go. 78. Better. I might just sit and be content with that for a little while. Yeah. I mean, I think that the level 2 is important, and I think that the number of trades that went off there is important, but you don't need the current trades to actually get that. You could use the volume profile for sure. And of course, there's the cumulative delta. Now, the cumulative delta thing is interesting just because I found so many times, why does it, when it ticks down, why does it drop like that? That is interesting. I find that highly suspicious. That we seem to get stop runs every time we tick down. I don't know. I'm gonna stay away from this for a bit. Anyways, I found that, you know, I would say, oh yeah, that just seems like there's a lot of market orders buying here. And then I would look up at the cumulative delta and I would say, oh, actually it's been flat. I don't know how they do it, but they do a good job at tricking you into thinking that the imbalance is more than it actually is. And that's why I like the cumulative delta. You know, and that's where you can see here in ZB, in many of these cases, like especially at this high, we were actually kind of in a low part of the range in cumulative delta. Now, of course, the next tick stopped people out and moved us back up, but I think that's really important. And this was kind of what I was trying to get at before. So the question is, why is this happening? And I think the answer is this. If we zoom in here, okay, so where was it? 31, 144.03. Okay, yeah. So notice here when we made those new highs, what was the knob spread doing? It was steepening. So they're buying the note and selling the bond right now. And that's why the bond isn't making new highs in cumulative delta. I think. That's my theory. And the thing is that when we're steepening, it seems like it's a lot harder to move up. It seems like when we're steepening that any move that we get doesn't move as much as when we're flattening. I don't think that's probably always the case. Like if we were in a financial crisis and we were steepening, then I think a move up would probably be really, really, really strong. But in this environment, I think that steepening kind of, you have to be a little bit more cautious. Okay, so I needed to keep the YouTube thing up because I can just hear what's going on in the bond channel. Apparently Litecoin ran up on Litecoin Cash Fork news. Totally missed that yesterday. They supposedly already partnered up with Visa, PayPal, SEPA. I find the Visa kind of suspicious though. Oh, Rackley says I used Thinkorswim for a long time too for market level 2. Yeah, well, the thing that was nice about the Thinkorswim, or at least back in the day, before TD Ameritrade took them over, was that you could set up a paper trading account with them, and it never expired. So you could put orders in on futures, and yeah, it was delayed by 10 minutes, but for me, it didn't matter. I found, though, when I started trying doing options stuff with Thinkorswim, man, you can get such quick spikes in options that the 10-minute delay was too much. I couldn't really get much practice out of it. Okay, so if Litecoin is moving up on Litecoin Cash Fork, I wonder how this is going to play out. Litecoin has a pretty strong connection to Bitcoin and Bitcoin Core. So I'm really surprised, for starters, that they're making a Litecoin Cash Fork. So first question is, who is making the fork? Second question is...
Fran said a chart with TPO and support/resistance helps with knowing where you are in space, I think.
Oh, I got wrecked when I dipped my toes in
Fran
option
said not
trading, yeah.
necessarily to take trades.
Yeah. You know, for me, the key thing I think to know is, you know, when a move stops, like this move, why did it stop? Did it stop because buyers didn't want to buy it anymore? No. It stopped because there was too many sellers at the top. I can't trade without that information anymore. And I mean, you can do okay just looking at a chart and going off of price action, sure. But I think knowing that what is the balance between buyers and sellers is really the core of trading. And I really don't advise trading without it. Okay, well, it does look like that they're going to make a new high. I still think that a good target is 160. Okay. Let's see if they do a level break setup here. Be ready and catch it. You're not going to take out a iceberg like that with just like a little trickle of orders. Anyways, Litecoin Cash. So then the next thing though is that I would think that most Litecoin holders would not care for Litecoin Cash. Yeah, I think that they would sell it. They'd fork and then they would immediately sell all of their coins. Which also says to me that perhaps the profit potential from people moving in to get it, you're not going to make that much money from moving your money into Litecoin off of the fork itself. But you might make money off of people trying to buy it to get into the fork. But then if there's not that much profit potential in it, will that many people actually buy Litecoin to get into the fork? And Litecoin does seem fairly expensive here. I don't. That's a tough one to know if I would try and trade that or not. I will definitely watch it though. There's no way that was a fill. Are you kidding me? Okay, there we go. So there was people looking to absorb it there at 125 as expected. I'd sell before the snapshot is taken. After that, there's going to be a dump of Litecoin. Okay. So you think they get the snapshot, so they're guaranteed to get some Litecoin Cash, and then they're going to sell their Litecoin, and then as soon as Litecoin Cash is on an exchange, they're going to sell that too, right? I mean, that doesn't sound to me like a very safe profit-making opportunity. that seems like a let's fork this to pump it up and then we'll all dump it. Yay, forks. The whole fork thing. I think that in the long run,
Trade
the fork.
The trader said, Seth, why did you do the long?
I did the long because I believe that they're going to pull a level break setup on 13, which would be absorption with iceberg orders at 125, and then they will hit 13 and lift it and try and create a stop run. There you go. So I think it's trying to hold it. there's a lot of strength there. They must be waiting for the 5-year. The 5-year might decide that they don't actually want to take it. Okay. Well, they still may do a level break, but it wasn't necessarily a super strong one. You know, if it had taken more like 3,000 to tick down through 125, it would have been better. Now the E-mini is all over the place here. So that's something that I'm watching, because if we start moving up and then they start puking, then that might say to me that I was wrong about this being a level break setup, and maybe they were just buying it there because of the E-mini ranging. Okay. Okay. I think they're gonna have to touch 14 to make a stop run. Come on, nobody wants to buy 13.5, huh? There you go. Okay. Good, good. Nope. See, now that there's that 3,000 sitting there, like, I'm gonna guess those are guys that want to be filled. This might be the spot where you might see Tyler come in and gobble it up. Let's see if they do that or if it just trickles in. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna just take a profit here. Can. Wait, hold on a second. This in the E-mini. Oh. Okay. Yep, what time you get back?
I think 7:30.
Okay. Love you, bye-bye. Okay. So one person got stopped out there. So I'm going to say I was wrong. But we still have an okay position, and there's still some good targets above us, so I think it's okay to take it. I'm just going to be really twitchy here at 13. I'm seeing some signs that ZB wants to come off, but like we've said before, they're more prone to sell anyways. Just kind of turning around. I think it's going to be appropriate to just take one here. This action that we're getting in the E-mini here, this kind of rising, that happened yesterday too. And it turned out to be, you know, buyers with limit orders just slowly building it up. Yeah, I don't see a level break here. I just see people taking profits on both sides and taking a tick. So I'm going to take a tick. Cool. Def Pluto, I really believe in Neo at the moment. Yeah, you've sold me on the Neo. I think that it's a top coin for sure. And let's pull it up here. It's the 8th coin on CoinMarketCap, which I think is, you know, it should be worth more than that. And we've come off a decent amount here. So it's actually in an okay place to buy it too. Well, what do you know? I wouldn't mind buying one Neo. Maybe we'll do that next month if it's still in a good spot. Because I think that this could be worth at least 500. No. So now this is starting to turn into the reversal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pretty good chance of this reversing here, but context makes it a little dubious. Okay, E-mini is falling. Okay, that was what I was looking for. Now that move up appeared to be driven by the E-mini dumping. Now the E-mini is coming back. We're probably going to come back down. Let's see how many trade here at 13. This is going to be important. Nobody really selling it here. Okay, so there's a little bit of selling there. I think you're going to have to sell and fill this guy if it's going to take up again. I didn't see where I was in queue. I'm not sure if that was a legit fill. It was like at 3,000, I think it was for sure legit. Okay, it's going both ways now though. Okay, now we're definitely filled. And 4,000 traded there. So now this is very positive for a level break. Would prefer that firms up quickly. Okay, 1,000's okay. 2,000 would be better. No. And that's interesting. We haven't actually hit the high end of the day in... Oh, because that's where it opened at in the 5-year. Interesting. Well, there's a pretty good probability that we touch that 77 but bounce off of it. Sure are fiddling around a lot with the level 2 here. They keep switching between 16 and 1200 between the bid and offer. Okay. deal. Made those 2 ticks really easily. And that's good for our level break. This gets above 2 on the bid, then I think that they'll take it. Yeah, here they go. Oh, stop toying with me. E-mini taking another move down. Holding that 13.5 pretty strong. I think there's a pretty good probability of us pushing through here. Oops, let me close this so we can see the chat. Max supplying 65 million, just 3 times of Bitcoin. Yeah, that's good. You won't believe how scummy the YouTube crypto content creators have become. Most of them all get paid to pump ICOs, which is nothing new, but now one jackass managed to make people pay $12 per person to find out. So he's going to pump a coin, but you have to pay money to find out which coin he's pumping? How does that even end up enough people do that for it to still be a pump? Well, I guess the question is, how many people does it really take to pump a coin? You know, how much is the supply of these things really constricted? I suppose that it might be a lot less than one might expect. Like, I bet you that in garlic coin, it probably only takes, you know, a dozen people buying, you know, aggressively buying garlic coin to make the price move up significantly. So what I see here happening in the note is I've been taking level break trades, and I'm seeing the signal and the setup and everything, and it's a profitable take, but they don't ever actually have to pull the trigger. They're just able to tick up on their own. And you know, there wasn't a stop run when we pushed through 14 there. Nobody traded 14.5 yet. He sells academy courses, and one of them is to find out his special ICO, which he got paid by the developers to pump. Something that really makes me mad is that apparently you have to pay exchanges to even get on their exchange. How lame is that? It's like Trade Satoshi is the only one that's just like, hey, we're going to have every coin in existence. He sells trading courses, and in one of his videos, he literally says he doesn't know what market depth is. Oh, that's so bad. Okay. So yeah, now the E-mini is moving up and we're getting the other way. Let's see if we can get out of this break even, because they're not doing what I thought they were going to do. It was just happening because people saw what was going on in the E-mini. I could maybe get one tick out of this, but I don't want to risk it. I trade bonds because I suck at trading the E-mini. Oh, guys, it was so bad yesterday. It was so bad. I was like, look, let's just try it until they hit the close, because it's just a Ninja Trader account and you can just clean it out afterwards. And I shouldn't have done that, because it was just like, it messed with my head. It messed with my head and it was bad. I shouldn't have done it. And so to come in here today and have 6 ticks, that's good. I'm happy with that. Okay, well, we've taken 4 trades. It is 8:23. Oh, today is Thursday. Oh, I'm so glad that we just did this, because I do have, this is the day I'm supposed to actually go into the office. We have all of our meetings. My least favorite day, actually, because, hate meetings. I fall asleep. Well, let's just check a couple of things here first. We haven't had the Bitcoin chart up at all today. I'm very curious. The futures are going short.
Fran said, I clicked on your stream but don't seem to be able to talk. What do I need to do?
Well, Fran, I was just saying, you know, can you see my screen, Fran? And can you hear me? Yes, no? It's about 5 seconds delayed. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. So I was just wanted to show you and say, you know, do you have this on your screen? Do you have this on your screen?
Fran said yes.
Okay, so the first thing is there's this position window, right? And for some reason it gets screwed up all the time. And so I just hit this refresh button, right? And that fixes it. And that tells you what like your profit loss is for the day. But then the other thing is, and I don't know if you've seen this, but there's an option in here in the DOM.
Fran said, hold on, have to get back in there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, hold on. I mean, where is the, what is the, because there's a way to turn that off, isn't there?
Fran said, okay, I'm back in.
Okay, so when you pull up this
Fran
positions
said,
thing,
should I answer you here?
yeah, do it in the Discord channel, because then they can hear you. You know, anybody that watches this afterwards, they can just hear you talking. So, you know, this, it should give you like a new row for every trade if you click in the middle one, the positions. And, you know, down here at the bottom, the thing I've noticed that happens the most is that sometimes you'll see it's not updating and you just have to click refresh. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it's definitely something Pete needs to look at. But if you're just having trouble just keeping track of your current position, if you use this default thing, how can I do this? I guess I have to come in here and do it in the e-mini and add the order column. And let's just make sure that I'm doing it on my NinjaTrader account. Okay, yes. So if I put a trade here in the e-mini.
Order pending.
Okay, see how now where the orders usually show up, there's now all these numbers. That tells me my profit and loss.
Order filled.
Of course, it's a loser. Did that make sense? Did that help? That's like a new feature in the day trader platform. The old NinjaTrader one doesn't do that. But when you take a position, the order column changes to show you what your profit and loss is at each price. So yeah, that was all I wanted to show you. I don't know if that helps or not. Oh no, I lost $50.
Fran said yes, I see that, but where is the PNL?
I'll show you again. Order column. What's it doing right now? Let's actually take one. Okay, so I should be buying it.
Order pending. Order pending.
Okay, let's move this down so that we go. So see this column right here? Where it normally would show your orders, like here's the 1S here. And look at each price, it tells me that's how much I made or lost on that trade. So if I said I want 8 ticks.
Order pending.
Right there. Oh, come on, no, fill me, oh. They're gonna go get me, come on. See, this is why I just shouldn't trade the E-mini. It's because of this right here. Even though I know that they're gonna fill me. Oh, gosh dang it. Maybe they're not going to fill me.
Order
Maybe
pending.
I should take it at 50. I swear, like NinjaTrader must have like some secret agreement with the traders. And they're like, okay, anytime that a retail trader puts in a simulated trade, we're just going to screw them over, even though it's simulated.
Order canceled.
Okay, there we go. So did that, were you able to see it that time? So that's how I've been keeping track of my profit and losses, is that column. And I just know, you know, 15 is 1 tick, and 32 is 2 ticks, and 43 is 3 ticks.
Fran said yes.
Okay, cool. So I hope that helps. That's how I keep track of the profit and loss on my current trade. And then when I'm done, then I'll come back and I'll look at, oh, did I close it? Oh, I'm so dumb. And then I'll come back and I'll look at this thing. And I'll say, okay. So I took 2 trades here, and I don't want to take more than, you know,
Fran
4 to
said,
6
what
trades
about
a day.
the strategies? I have several set up, have them checked but didn't execute when I placed the order.
Good question. Good question. So, are you using the bridge is the first question. Oh, actually, I guess it probably doesn't matter. So if you come up here, strategy manager. So
Fran
is that
said not yet.
Okay. Okay, good. Because the bridge has kind of been weird for me. I mean, it works, but I personally wouldn't recommend using the bridge right now. So I'm guessing that you have some strategies set up in here like this.
Fran said I have to use it for the UB.
Yeah, I get you. So, you know, you can make a new strategy, but...
Fran said yes.
Okay, yeah, so you've made one of those, and then it's just like in the old version when you pull up the order thing by clicking the $sign here. It's over here. Here's my strategies. I just have a 4-tick stop is the only strategy that I use. So you make sure you have something set in there, and then when you put the order in, it should put them in automatically. And another thing to pay attention to is this is stop volume number in here. Put a number in there, and that will make it so that you won't
Fran
stop.
said did that, but it didn't put the order in automatically.
Oh, it didn't? You know, I have had some instances where it didn't go in automatically, so I would maybe just try it again. Because if you have it selected there, it should put it in. Anyways, make sure you do a volume stop. That way it won't execute just from that price being touched. The level 2 has to go below a certain number for it to trigger. So in ZN, I have it set to 400. Should probably have it higher than that. I should probably have it set to be like 800, but...
Fran said what number do you use for volume stop?
Yeah, I've been using 400. It seems to me like 500 is the amount that they tend to like put up. You know, like when we tick up and they put a tiny little amount up, you know, like right here. If they tick up here. Okay, they only put up 20 or, you know, about 50. So I would kind of base it on that, and I would use either 50 or 100 if I was trading ZB. Because basically you want to say, okay, there's like 500 people here. If it gets below 100, then probably it's going to go through. So that point I should hit my stop. So that's, I guess, yeah, there's no real right answer to it. I wish there was a way to study and figure out like what the best number is, but some way to say at the edge of each pivot, how low does the offer get? And set that. Actually, we could probably do it. It would be hard, but I could probably. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I would have to have a way of saying that there was a pivot here. But to sit down and say, what was the lowest that the bidder or the offer ever got? And then look at where the edges are and make a histogram and say, okay, this is the best place to put your stop, to put the volume stop. Yeah, I hope that helps. I don't know why sometimes I have had where sometimes it doesn't put the stop in for me. But if you coming back into here, this number right here, this SV, that's what it's going to put in for your volume stop. So if you just put one in there. That was another thing, is with the bridge, for some reason the volume stop doesn't work with the bridge. From what I can tell, at least. Yeah. And then I always make sure I do, here in trading, they close out standing orders when position is closed is another thing.
Fran said okay, have to set up the bridge, not sure this is all worth it but we'll give it a shot.
Yeah. So the reason why I don't like the bridge is that if I put an order in here, watch, so I'm going to click. I clicked.
Order pending.
Now it shows up. That's the problem I have with the bridge right now. So I don't know if it's like that for you. And this is a demo
Order
account.
canceled.
Like one of the NinjaTrader simulated accounts, so it might have something to do with that. But yeah, that bothers me, so.
Fran said I can pay the $10 per month with Ninja and get the UB on Jigsaw.
Really? So you don't get UB on Ninja? Or is just you have different brokers or something?
Fran said my NT8 crashes continually.
Oh, yeah. So I was having a problem with NinjaTrader 8 crashing.
Fran said yes for a live account, but I use NT7.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. You know, if it was me and I had multiple accounts like that and everything, like when I go live, my plan is I have to renew my subscription because I did. Pete did give me a year subscription for working something out with him, but that's long past, so now I need to renew it. So I'll do the live trading monthly subscription thing, and my live account will only be connected to Jigsaw, and then, you know, I'll still have the demo account, and I'll just have NinjaTrader only connect to the demo account because they don't allow you to have two connections to the same thing anymore without paying for it. So that's how I'm going to do it. And that way, because I've never had this crash on me. You know, like maybe there was one version a long time ago that crashed, but this is so reliable. So I would say, you know, for placing orders, I want to only touch this, and I just have NinjaTrader open so I can see the charts. And on the crashing, for me at least, I was having crashing like every day. And so I started just going through and started removing individual indicators off of my charts until it fixed it. And you know what I found it was this spread indicator. If I had two spread indicators on two separate charts that showed the same instrument, so I had it where this one right here, this is ZN, it had the knob spread on it, and the ZB had the knob spread on it too. And when I removed the knob spread on ZN, the problem went away. So it seemed like it had something to do with multiple data series indicators for me. But that's how I would try doing it. And then I guess if you continue...
Fran said NT Tech told me to take off all third-party indicators.
Yeah.
Fran said, well, that makes no sense.
Well, what happened here? How come the... There we go. I'm like, why aren't they lining up correctly? I'm so anal about that. Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be a bug in their multiple data series indicators. I keep meaning to go and post a bug report about it, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm gonna go in 5 minutes. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I should show you one more thing
Fran
here,
said,
then I
but
should
let
go.
me just confirm, if I use the NT8 bridge and Ninja crashes, the Jigsaw order platform doesn't crash along with it?
Yeah, that's correct. If you use the NT8 bridge and Ninja crashes, Jigsaw doesn't crash, but you won't be getting data fed to you. That's why I would say just have, you know, have a demo account somewhere
Fran
or something.
said, okay, that's what I was concerned about.
Yeah, or you can pay...
Fran said AHHIC.
Yeah, you can pay like Rhythmic and CQG like $10 to allow two connections at the same time and just connect them separately too. I suppose you could do that. But I'm sure that the bridge will get better. But yeah, so the other thing I show you in NinjaTrader, if you're having problems with it crashing, first thing I would do is like just delete your workspace and recreate it. Sometimes that helps. And then another thing is that if I go into my file explorer here, and hold on, let me find it. Whoa, who is going to be at my door? Whoa, hold on a second.
Fran said, yes, I do that periodically, they get corrupted very often.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry about that. One of the kids forgot their backpack. Anyways, so yeah, deleting the workspace helps. You can also, though, you can go into this folder, this cache folder, and just literally delete everything in the cache folder. That's helped me a few times too. So yeah. Okay, well, it does look like we did. We still haven't ticked up. Did we tick up before I was?
Fran said thanks for the help.
No. I didn't, because I got out at, where was it? Did I close it again? For some reason, I keep closing my my orders window. This one. Oh, it was at 13.5? Oh, so bad. So bad. Should have held on. Oh well. Oh well, 93 is good. It's kind of interesting too. It doesn't show the bridge orders. It seems like the position window really gets screwed up when you show the bridge orders in there. And I actually just went in and added filters to so that I could show them separately yesterday. I won't show you what it was yesterday. It was so bad. So bad. Anyways, those are the only things that I've seen help, but even then it seems like there's something broken in NinjaTrader still. So I don't know. Well, now the E-mini is really going. Get down. What are they going to do? They get below 2690. I don't know, but I should probably go now. So I do a double check here, see if there was any questions in the YouTube. Library is kind of cool. I prefer Siacoin, but library is a really cool one too. Lun, I've never heard of that one. No, library is cool. And you can mine pretty good for library too. But I think that Siacoin is a better, more developed project. Although after the whole ASIC miner thing, ugh. All right, anyways, so I think that's it. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Good day. We got 6 ticks. Probably could have gotten a lot more than that, but that's okay. All right, I will see you tomorrow.